Do you see now the difference in our power?
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have a lot of news to get through, so it's going to be a ride. We'll start off with this one. Hungrybox fainting at a tournament. This happens when you sit down for a long time and then you jump up immediately. And I also think when you're dehydrated. So for those of you guys who are going to tournaments, I know a lot of people are traveling to CEO. Make sure you drink some water so this doesn't happen to you. But with CEO happening, we have a lot of first time games there. I have a couple of graphs and a couple of charts that you can see which highlights which game got the most players to sign up. I know overall for CEO, there's a lot more players signing up for every game. As for Tokon specifically, we have a lot of information about this game. The 1 week usage data is here, with Magic being number one. I don't think that will change for quite some time. And then Blade takes back the second place position that he had during the beta from Spider-Man, who claimed it on launch. The leader placements are still relatively the same, being Magic, Spider-Man, and Black Panther, but the assists looks wildly different. You know, the meta is unraveling. You have Blade, Magneto, then Magic. When you talk about this usage data, you can even see it impacting tournaments, with Paragon Online, Tokon number one, the results being 4 Black Panthers in top 8, with one of them winning the whole tournament. As we're getting deeper into the lifespan of that game, people are starting to talk more about balance, more tier lists is being made, and probably with the results of CEO, depending on whoever wins that, we'll probably have conversations then. So maybe I'll make a video for that soon. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications. But continuing, we have sales. Marvel Tokon sold an estimated 485,000 copies on PlayStation 5 and Steam. Now, PlayStation makes up about 74% of that split. So Steam is only 26%. All of the PC problems you've been hearing about, that's only had the ability to directly affect about 26% of the player base. In total, the revenue made so far across all platforms is an estimated 33 million for Marvel Tokon. Another interesting fact is that 75% of the players who play Marvel Tokon live in North America. That is an absolutely massive number. So this means if that player base gets upset and starts complaining, the developers will crater and listen fast. 52% of PlayStation 5 Tokon players also play Dragon Ball Z Fighters. 49% also play Street Fighter V. 41% also played Mortal Kombat 1. 36% played Street Fighter 6, and 35% played Tekken 7. You can see that all of the different player bases of the other fighting games are descending on this, which makes the numbers so high, which makes the conversation so talked about. 60% of Marvel Tokon's PS5 players have also played the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, and then 57% played Spider-Man 2, and then 53% played Marvel Rivals. And with those sets of data, you can see that the fighting game aspect of it is carrying, but then also the Marvel side of it is catching a lot of people's attention. So this game has the opportunity to do something great. They even had a Spider-Man comic where Miles Morales was playing Marvel Tokon in said comic. As for Street Fighter 6, there's only 2 things that I want to note. One, the character Yasmin doesn't seem to be as explosive as everyone thought it would be. After week 1, we've seen significant drops in her player usage. Some people are debating and claiming that the character isn't as strong, but I mean, we've seen this happen with many different times before. Like as for Tekken 7, people said Fakaram was weak, but now he's one of the most dominant characters at a tournament level and even kind of in a casual level. So you can never be too certain, but this is what people are doing week 1. Also, people were complaining week 1 about the buffs that Ryu got. There's a couple other characters that's being talked about, but people were kind of shocked to see buffs be given out to every character while also not doing anything about the throw loops that was talked so heavily about. The Street Fighter developer said that they may not change it. They're still listening to players, but it's not on their to-do list. Now, I'll give you guys an update on Ed Boon and Harada. Both of these guys are making a new game, and it's in secret, as all games are. There was a parody account on Twitter that made a joke about Injustice 3, and it got Ed Boon to respond. Warner Bros. Discovery is partnering with OpenAI to replace NRS on Injustice 3. The long-awaited sequel to DC franchise is set to be produced entirely using the new Sora text-to-video 3D model. This is not true. This is from a parody joke account on Twitter. The only reason I'm reading it is because Ed Boon responds to it and he simply says, "Oh no." You could just say that this is another mental stack of them possibly making Injustice 3 as their next game instead of like a Mortal Kombat 3. As for Harada, he responded directly to a player who asked him a question. Their account is suspended, so we can't see what the question was, but it was something along the lines of, when's your next game? When we'll hear about it? You know, kind of just asking for an update. And Harada gave it. He says, if possible, we would rather not say anything for at least 3 years. And this is referring to what Harada is making. A lot of people are anticipating it. They want to see if it's 3D related, fighting game related. They want to see if it's Tekken like. As for Arc System Works, a lot of the different fighting games they work on has similar thread lines through and through, like Dragon Ball Z Fighters, Guilty Gear, Marvel Tokon. Players of all three of those can see the similarities. And will Tekken Soul Calibur players be able to do the same with whatever Harada's working on? 3 years, time will show. Bob releases in a couple of days. The Tekken developers are posting clips on Twitter. They're showing off some of his character art, some of his panel art. I'll put that on the screen. But then they're also highlighting a little bit of gameplay. They're showing off his jab, which a lot of people are calling broken because of the range of it. It's a pretty decent range of a jab, and being able to spam that and keep the person in check is going to be very good at competitive level. And then also people are talking about his counter hit down for 2 range. Even though the Brian Fury presses some button and get counter hit, a lot of people are calling it like a phantom box ghost style, like, just infinite range basically. There's supposed to be a limit on how far these things reach. And with Tekken 8, there is no limit, especially when you're talking about DLC characters. I haven't seen a video of Kunimitsu where she had like a wild standing move or something of that sort and it had infinite range. So Tekken 8, they give characters a lot of range, and then this is a known fact that they give their DLC characters even more stuff on top of that. They pulled it back a little bit after the season 2 controversy, but everything up until that point was madness. And as more time unfolds, we're starting to see that even the season 2 DLC are strong, just on a more subtle level. In some of these clips as well, you can listen to the new dialogue that Brian Fury has with Bob.
Criminals like you disgust me. Today, justice will be served. You don't stand a chance against me if weight's all you got. Fast as lightning.
And then, of course, you have a lot of players like Blau and Ulsan talking about how they're eager to play him. Bob has always been a competitive tournament dominant character, and I'm expecting that same to be true unless they overhaul the character in a major way like they did with Eddie, Lydia, or Heihachi. Now, as for tournaments, we're at the halfway point for the 2026 Tekken World Tour, and we have a couple of character representation charts. Some of the characters that you see the most frequently at this top level in tournament is Dragunov #1, Fang, Fakkuma, Brian's, and Law. I also know that Brian Fury, Dragunov, and Kazuya are the most used characters in top 64. Season 3 has really done a good job of getting all the Mishima biases out of there. In Season 2, Heihachi mains was trying to say this, Kazuya mains was trying to say that, but with what Yagami did in EWC, even that is being wiped away. And I'm happy because all of these characters are powerful in this game, and the players really need to understand that. Every character is broken. No one is playing with some scrub trash character. Those days are gone for sure. Now, as for the EWC, for those of you who don't know, Zabar set a record for the fastest grand final ever with 15 minutes and 11 seconds. He also was identified as the player from last year who had a controversial handshake. They're doing, you know how they do rock, paper, scissors for position, player 1 or player 2? The guy in the white, he throws out paper and adjusts to scissors.
All right, so Rick the Ruler actually taught me a strat a while ago. Not taught me, but he showed me what some people was doing in tournament. You ready? You go rock, paper, scissors, shoe. You can get all 3. I see if you practice this, I'm sure it'll look smoother, but you go rock, paper, scissors, shoe. You can get all 3 if you're fast enough. It's mad broken, bro. Rock, paper, scissors, shoe.
Nah, that's crazy. As people are starting to watch more and more of these tournaments, they're starting to notice the same stages come up very frequently. This is something that I kind of was aware of for a very long time, that random stage select is not necessarily random. I mean, I play during season 2 and season 1, I played this game for like 6 hours every day, and I would notice that more stages pop up than others. You start to realize that it's a lot of the DLC stages, and I think the developers did that because it's DLC and they want you to pay for the stage. But with them coming up so frequently, it kind of defeats the purpose of paying for them because you always see them, you're always playing on them. But I know players put together a couple of charts where you can see a lot of the data, the stages, and how much they're being picked, but then also some other interesting details about EWC. Lastly, a little bit of a comparison between Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. For Street Fighter 6, you have 2.89 million hours watched. The peak viewership on Twitch was 196,306. You could pause now and look at the comparison to last year, but for Tekken 8, you have 1.83 million hours watched. They had peak viewership at 114,658 viewers. This is a series high for Tekken.